Hey everyone, Marissa here and Happy New Year. Quite frankly, I can't really believe that we have made it to 2022. I feel like the last 2 years have been a bit of a battle. And sadly, I don't know that 2022 is going to be that much better, but let's say I'm tentatively optimistic. Tentatively. Also, I should just mention that if you hear raindrop sounds, apologies. It has been raining for about a week straight. I've really literally been waiting to film this video all week, and I have like a day left to edit this and get it up. So I'm gonna go for it now. We're just gonna have to deal with the rain sounds. Given that it's the new year, I thought it might be fun to walk you through my current planner setup situation, given that at the end of last year, like starting in September of 2021, I actually decided to stop bullet journaling. If you've watched any of my previous bullet journaling videos, you would know that in the grand scheme of like the online bullet journal community, my bullet journals were pretty pared back and utilitarian. I did have a little bit more artistic and elaborate, say like cover sheets or monthly cover sheets, but for the most part my spreads were pretty basic. I had a limited amount of trackers, and I just kind of did rolling dailies that were super simple so that I could just literally copy stuff down and down and down. While this really worked for me for a long time, and I actually am replicating this same style of rolling daily in my current planning setup, it just became really tedious to set up every week, and the monthly setups in particular were just becoming not enjoyable at all anymore. I also, for some reason, had this weird block where I was like, you can't make time to like draw midweek because you're gonna draw at the end of the month when you do your October setup. So for some reason it was like I felt like I wasn't allowed to do art outside of the bullet journal, because if I did art in my bullet journal, it was functional art versus me just like screwing around, which in retrospect really prevented me from drawing and coloring and doing all the things that I actually really love to do. It was just like a weird arbitrary mental block that I had around functional versus like non-functional art, if that makes sense. And quite frankly, because I wasn't enjoying setting up the bullet journal to actually use, I started really trying to use it as little as possible. I wasn't writing things down daily. I wasn't writing deadlines down and like bills and things. And I was starting to just very much forget things because I didn't have a system that I enjoyed using anymore. So in September, I decided to switch from bullet journaling over to Notion. You're probably already at least somewhat familiar with Notion as an app, simply because it's pretty popular here on YouTube, especially amongst like the kind of study tube or like productivity communities here on the platform. I actually found it through YouTube, and am so very glad I did, because it's honestly the perfect transition off bullet journaling, I think. Basically, Notion is a note-taking and database creation app that is incredibly flexible. You basically get blank pages, and then you can create whatever you need within that blank page. You also have access to a whole bunch of different preset templates, and there's like a community template library, so people who have created their own templates can then upload them for other people to use. I have not yet figured out how to do this, so I haven't uploaded any of my stuff as templates, but if you see anything that I talk about today that you would like as a template, please let me know and I will do my best to figure out how to do that. Prior to making the shift over to Notion, I probably watched like weeks worth of videos on the subject and was really impressed at how flexible the software was and how different people with very different kind of goals and needs were able to really customize Notion to their own needs. And so I thought, coming from a bullet journaling background, that that might be like the best thing for me, given that I still really hate like preset planner templates, and I thought this would allow me to kind of create my own kind of digital bullet journal, if you will. A couple other things I like about Notion, aside from the customization options and template libraries, is the fact that it really does help with like light automation. I am by no means a Notion expert, so I know that I'm not using the automation features like quite as well as I could, or you know, to the fullest extent possible, but there are like simple things like not having to recreate an entire week or a whole month, literally just like going in and changing colors and dates and things like that. It just really speeds up the whole process, and it makes me feel like I can focus on using the planner system rather than building the planner system, if that makes sense. Another thing I really like about Notion is that it is compatible across devices. So I have it on my iPhone, I have it on my iPad, which I am using right now to read the notes for this video. I have it on my computer so that I can do like desktop and entry when I'm doing heavy creation or heavy writing in Notion. I use it on my computer. Aside from using it for my personal planner, I also opened a second account so that I could use it for some data management at work. And it is like being able to have it on my phone and walk around and being able to like pull up ticket requests and things on my phone and just like have all my notes right there is like super, super handy. There's also a web browser version. So if you were, say, like at a public library, you forgot your computer and you needed to like actually write in it and it was easier, you could log in through their web interface. There's just like a lot of usability options. And as somebody who used to wear out her bullet journal notebooks, because I'm the kind of person that likes to take it with me everywhere, it's super handy that no matter where I go, as long as I have one of these devices on me, I always have access to my Notion setup.
Hey there folks, editing Marissa here. It's at this point that I realized that I never mentioned that this video is not sponsored. So it's not sponsored, I'm just a massive Notion fangirl. Back to the video.
And lastly, one of the most exciting things about Notion is that you can use it absolutely free. There is a personal pro or something like that plan where you can pay for some extra features, but for the most part, I think what most users will end up using and what I use both for personal stuff and for work is just the free personal plan. Notion works off the concept of content blocks, and under the personal plan, you get unlimited blocks. The only thing I think I've really noticed is you don't get like other users. So if you are using this for like a team-based collaboration software, you probably will need a different higher tier plan. And as a free user, you have like limits to the file sizes that you can upload. But aside from that, I have literally not run into a single problem using this free version, and I am extraordinarily excited to get such a cool customizable software at $0 price point. That's like kind of unheard of. For the rest of the video, I thought we could switch on over to voiceover and screen share Marissa, and you can take a look at my Notion with me and set up my 2022 planner system. Thought that might be fun. Also, I will be doing a very, very, very brief overview of what I call like my second brain, but I'm only going to be going in depth on the planner section because otherwise this video would be like 5 million years long. So if you see any other sections that I briefly mention that you would like me to do future videos on, please feel free to let me know. I've also been thinking of doing a how I use Notion at my 9-to-5 job style video. So if that's something that sounds interesting to you as well, please let me know and I will prioritize making that video as we go into the new year. So without further ado, let's check out my Notion.
All right, so we are now in my Notion setup. This is my main dashboard. And before we get into the actual tour and setup, I do just want to mention that I don't have a super sophisticated setup here. I'm literally just screen recording this in QuickTime Player with a cheap microphone. So hopefully this all works out. Apologies for any lower quality and if you can hear my mouse and or keyboard too much. So here we go. So this is my kind of main Notion dashboard. This is what I'm calling my second brain, and I do know that there is some productivity guru guy out there who like has a whole second brain course and it's like a more complicated system technically when he teaches it, but for me, second brain literally just means it's another place where I can store information, where I can take notes, where I can basically get everything out of my actual human brain so that I don't lose it. First of all, as I mentioned before, Notion is run off these content blocks, and you can have standard blocks that are text or header based, something like this, but then you also have more dynamic blocks that do specific functions. And I personally think that the most underutilized, underappreciated specialty block in Notion is actually the table of contents feature, which is what this guy is right here. So this basically allows you to have a long form page, something that goes, you know, down, 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 and then this allows you to quick jump to them. So we're going to use this today to explore my dashboard a little bit. So we are first here in my planner section. This is what we're going to be looking at later, so I'm going to skip over that right now. But then I have a couple of other sections down here. I have a section that I call creative, which is basically like all of my creative-y things. So I have a fan fiction dashboard here, which I have been using to plan and write all of my fan fiction for the last year, and it's been fantastical. I have a plot bunnies kind of brain dump section, I have characters because I'm going to start playing D&D very soon, and I have a whole section that I am going to be dedicating to creating characters for my very first campaign. And then I of course have a recipe book where I have been saving recipes so that it's kind of like my own personal Pinterest, but I don't always have to log into Pinterest. That kind of thing. I have a growth section here where I have my entire personal reading library. I feel like you guys might end up wanting to see a whole section on this because this is kind of its own intense database. So if you'd like to see that, let me know. But this is where I've been storing all of my reading notes and all of my like reading inventory, if you will. I have a learning library for some courses I'd like to take in the upcoming year. I have a mindfulness section and then a personal development section where I just take notes. Then I have my little side hustle because I didn't know what else to call this section. This is basically where I keep everything related to my channel, to my Patreon account, and then I have another section, Little Spider Creates, for my Etsy shop. And then lastly, I have this download section here, and this is literally a download section in that it's just very basic information that I want to get out of my brain and onto paper, or in this case, a database. So I have a little wish list section, watch list, app and game recommendation list, because people are always suggesting things to me. I have this little dashboard, I guess, for random interesting people I have come across, a bucket list, and then just some random notes of things that are important enough that I want to hang on to them, but not so important to have their own section. So again, if you want me to go into further depth into any of these areas or how I use them, please feel free to let me know and I will do another video. But for today, we are going to be focusing primarily on this planner section. So the nice thing about Notion, as I mentioned, is that you can kind of automate things. So what I'm actually going to do before we get going and set up the 2022 section of my planner is I'm going to start moving all of this 2021 stuff out and into this archive section that I've created for myself over here. So, oh yeah, I should mention, I guess, that I have obviously in my sideboard here, I have all the things I use most frequently favorited so that I can get to them quickly. And then down here, I also have a couple other sections. Obviously, we have my second brain. We have Trove notes, which Trove is it's an extension for Chrome that allows you to automatically send any highlights to Notion. So if anytime you highlight something in Chrome, it'll give you the option to send it directly to Notion, and it'll basically pop over here, and then it'll give you the link from which you copied it or sent it from, and then you get you get a little highlight in here. So I haven't used this too much. I've mainly been using it to bookmark things, but what we're gonna be looking at today is this archive section. So I have literally not filled this out whatsoever. So I thought you and I could build this out together and you can see a little bit of how Notion works. So this was just like, I think, a old version of my Little Spider 9 Netflix anime challenge, which I'm currently working through on the channel here. So let's go ahead and actually create a few new sections. So I'm gonna do, we'll do a content archive. Actually here, let's do it this way. So I'm gonna be using some of these Notion shortcuts. So to basically quick create anything, you can type a little slash here. And I'm gonna say, I want this to be a heading 2. And we're gonna say content archive. And then I'm going to change my color here. We'll just make it orange. Okay, and then I'm gonna say same thing here, and we'll go heading 2, planner archive. And then what I'm actually gonna do for this one is I'm gonna do a toggle. So a toggle is pretty cool because it allows you to pop anything down here and then it'll be hidden. So we're gonna say 2021 planner pages. Okay. And I'm gonna change the background on this one to, let's do yellow. I've been having a thing with yellow this year. Okay, so let's bold. Can I bold that? Are you gonna let me bold? Maybe not. Oh, there we go. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to my second brain and I'm gonna jump down to this planner section, and I'm literally just going to, actually, let's see, can I open this? Yeah, I'm literally just going to drag these pages here because I just want to be able to fill this section in with my new pages. And before I drag this one, I'm actually going to go in here and I'm going to say duplicate, and then we will come back to this in just a second. So I'm going to move all these over here, and then I'm going to, let's see, select all these and then drag them into my toggle. So then I have my 2021 planner pages archive, and if I want to see all the pages, I can just go ahead and pop that down. Realistically, I could make this its own page, but quite frankly, I kind of like how that's going to look because then I can, continue to build out the years as I go. So you might notice that I'm not going to remove the favorite for December quite yet because the day I'm filming this, it is actually the 30th. So I do still want to be able to use my December page as my current planning page, but we will be building out January as well. So you can see what the process is for setting this all up. Did not mention this before, but obviously this is a little cover, and you get these little icons or emojis that you can basically use to indicate as like a quick reference what the page is doing. Here, this is my archive. I did a little almost like a recipe box, and then I picked this from, they have all these different options. You can upload your own, you can attach an image via link, or you can use Upsplash, which is kind of like a Getty Images sort of thing, or an Imager or something like that. You can basically search for a theme, an item, whatever you're looking for, and pull up an image there. Okay, so let's go back into December, and I'll show you what one of my active pages looks like, and then we'll go ahead and set up January 2022. So this is my current December 2021 planner page. This is very much set up to mimic my bullet journal. It's just a little bit more automatable, if that makes sense. So again, as I mentioned, I do think the table of contents feature is the least appreciated feature in Notion, but it's fantastic for somebody who, like me, rather than wanting to go through several different pages, so like I would rather not have to make each one of these weeks its own page. I don't need that. I'd rather just do one long page for the entire month. I like that I can jump straight down to this week and then scroll down to here, and then I've got my habit tracker down here, but I've also put another table of contents down here. So if I want to jump back up to the top, I can do that. I honestly think it's something I have seen underutilized by other creators when I go through and watch other people's Notion setup. So I just really wanted to emphasize my love for it as a feature. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and I will continue to use it as I go forward. So let's go ahead and just talk through this page setup, and then, like I said, we'll jump over and do January. So I have chosen to, I guess, kind of Studio Ghiblify my entire Notion setup. Most of my images are from Studio Ghibli, and I will show you my resources for that in a second. I have kind of chosen to go with seasonally appropriate Studio Ghibli photos. So since December is the only cold month really we get here in Southern California, I thought I'd do something where Kiki and Ursula look nice and cozy. And then of course I did a little pine tree because it didn't feel quite Christmassy vibes to me, but I felt like it fit with the cozy vibes. So I have, of course, my monthly title, I guess, if you will. I initially thought maybe I would just do December and leave off the year, but then I realized as I am going to be archiving these older pages, I wanted to be able to differentiate between December 2021 and December 2022, so I did decide to throw the year on there. And then I have this at a glance section. This is very much stripped straight out of my bullet journal, so I like having a big tasks for the month because day to day, there's obviously a lot of little things that I put on my to-do lists, but I like to have the big, really important things pulled out and indicated very specifically so that I can find them at the top of the page each day. So I have a big task section. I have a project section, which obviously I'm not doing super great at. I have a YouTube section where I will list any of the videos that I want to put up this month. And then I also have a Patreon section where I will provide any of the Patreon videos that I want to put up that month. Then we'll just go into the first week here. So then I go into my weeks. These again are basically one-to-one replications. When it comes to my bullet journal, I have just automated the process a bit, and I'll show you what I mean by that in January. So here I have a little, this is called a call out section. And what I've done here is I've listed all my tasks and events just like I would have done in my bullet journal. So the nice thing too about Notion is that you can like create another event. Say I wanted to do film video, and then I can literally just type in today and it will adjust the date as time goes on in real time. So obviously these at one point said Saturday or the 1st, and now that time has passed, it's put in the actual date, and then you can also associate times with that event. So I just like to have a tasks and events for, again, the really important things for that week and any events that I have, meetings, appointments, etc. Then down here, I have, again, just very simple, straight from my bullet journal, rolling dailies. So I have Sunday through Saturday. And the big difference for me between a bullet journal and Notion when I'm using this exact same setup is the movability without having to rewrite. So let me jump down to this week and I will show you what I'm talking about. So obviously I'm on break right now. I don't have work this week, so my to-do lists have been relatively short, but when it comes to my to-do tasks, so I actually completed this for today. Say I decided that I wanted to move this actually to tomorrow, I literally can just grab, drag, and drop. I don't have to retype it out. I don't have to rewrite it. It's super, super easy. And if I wanted to grab a whole stack, I could literally just drag and drop. So that's, for me, is like one of the most helpful things to do with Notion. It means I'm spending less time actually planning and more time just getting the tasks done, if that makes sense. And then as long as I just undo, they all pop right back up in here. The other thing I like about Notion is that I can link directly to other pages. So here, for example, we are obviously working on this task right now, Film Notion Plan with Me 2022 setup. If I wanted to actually go to this page and see my notes for this video, I can click on that. And then here we are in my video planner sheet. So I've got my little outline here. I haven't filled in any of that stuff yet. I've got my tags. I know that this is going on YouTube, not on Patreon. And then once I publish it and I actually have an active link, I will put that in there so that I can, quick reference and quick grab anything I need. Then if I want to go back, instead of going back over here, I can literally just hit go back. And here we are back in this week. So to me, just being able to quick reference, things like that, is super, super helpful. I also find it's really helpful, say, if I needed to take notes. Like I had a phone call with my loan provider the other day, actually not the other day, in November, and I had another one of these pages literally just for the notes so that I could open it up and I can jump straight to the notes, and it's really searchable. So rather than having to flip through pages in a physical journal to find things, I can literally just search it. And it's a lot more functional in retrospect. I was a huge fan of the bullet journal for a very long time, but as somebody now who is quite busy and relatively lazy in my personal life, I like that I can get a lot of functionality without having to put a lot of effort in. Then further down here, like I mentioned, I have my habit tracker. I do like to put just another image here just to kind of break it up a little, but I have my habit tracker. And then this, there are a variety of ways you could track your habits in Notion. There's a couple different templates. This I really like because it's super easy. It's literally just a checkbox. I've listed out all the things that I'm trying to track right now. And then when you get to the bottom, you can actually calculate the percent checked. So you can see, so 25% of this month I actually exercised. Not great, but at least I have that data now. The other thing that I've built into these pages are auto jumping sections. So obviously this will be January, but if we wanted to jump back into November, just got to click on that. And now we are back in November. So yeah, it's just super easy to navigate. And I've set it up in a way that, like I said, is very reminiscent of my bullet journal, just better. So let's go ahead and go back to the second brain, and we're going to start setting up our January. So remember when I said I really started to dislike having to set up my monthly Notion spread each month? Well, in Notion, I have been able to automate that even further by creating a recreatable template. So basically, I've got this monthly template that I set up, and what I'm going to do is just click on this. It's going to duplicate a new page. And sometimes this does take a second because I have quite a few things going on in the template. All right, there we go. It has created itself as a fresh month. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And then we're going to go ahead and start setting this up. So I'm obviously going to change this to January 2022. I'm going to add a cover. And at this point, I will show you guys my Studio Ghibli resources. So I have been able to find a couple of different resources to get high quality Studio Ghibli pics. I will link all of these in the description box below for your usage pleasure. But first of all, I would just say that Studio Ghibli themselves have released high quality, they call them scene photos from all of their films. So you can always go through their library and see what you can find, see if anything appeals to you. The other place I've been able to find some really great resources are on Imager. This user has like all the Studio Ghibli's screenshots from all the Studio Ghibli films, and then this user also has a selection of Studio Ghibli's screenshots. So use these as you will. I will again link them in the description box. I have gone ahead and pre-picked some images that I wanted to use. So these are both from the Secret World of Arietti. And I'm just going to go ahead and copy this link, go back into Notion, add cover. And I'm going to go change cover, and I'm going to just say link. What I really like about this is that it saves space on your actual computer hard drive because you don't have to download each photo to actually upload it to Notion. So I literally pulled this through just through the link. I'm going to actually reposition this slightly. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay. Then let's see, I'm also going to change this, and let's see what would be, let's see, do we have a lantern? Light. Oh, let's do a candle. That'll be nice. Yeah, there we go. January 2022. Okay. So then I'm going to go back over to grab my second image that I wanted to use. Jump back to Notion, and then we are going to come down to the habit tracker. Now I'm going to pop this down and say image, embed, paste that link, embed image, and there you go. So the only other thing I'm going to do to customize this, to get this going, is just change the color scheme here. So I actually kind of like the yellow because it, you know, goes with the candle, but let's see what other things look like. I've been doing about 2 colors per setup. So I wonder if we do, like a purple maybe? Purple and yellow. And I'll make this one purple. That's kind of nice. I wonder if the yellow is too bright. What if we did purple and gray? Oh, I like that better. Okay, we'll do that. Okay, so then for week 1, we are going to go ahead and put all of the dates in here. Oh, actually here, we'll change these colors too. I'll do gray. I'll make this purple. And then we will go ahead and change this. So it'll be January 2nd through January 8th. And then I'm going to, we'll make these purple. Oops. And this is going to be Jan 2nd. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and change all these, and then I'll touch back with you in 1 second. So now that we've got our week filled out, the only other thing I need to change really, actually let's go ahead and change this. We'll make this gray. The only other thing I need to change would be to update the colors in my rolling weekly. So this is how I quick duplicate weeks. I have this, again, another template button, and literally all I have to do is go in there, click on this, and a new week will populate. And then again, all I will have to do is change the dates. So it'll go something like that. But I do want to actually change the colors in here so that I don't have to change them every single week. So I'm going to change these, say purple background. Okay, now that I've updated that, I'm just gonna hit close, and now my weeks will populate in the correct colors going forward. So if I wanted to add anything here, I could. I actually think I might go ahead and add Etsy in again. Let's see, we're gonna add, insert. Oh, wait, hang on. We'll do this here. We'll go insert, right? We'll make this a checkbox. And then we'll say Etsy. That way I can just see roughly how many days I've been working on it. Okay, and then there we go. We're pretty much good to start filling things in. The last thing I'm gonna do is just go favorite, and now it's up there so that I can quick jump into that. I am actually, just realized I'm gonna go down here and I'm going to tie this to the December page. So I'm gonna say December 2021. I'm going to jump into December. And update this to January. Oops. January 2022. And then the very last thing I'm going to do is go back to the second brain and set up my New Year's 2022 financial tracker. So most of this is going to be the same. I'm just tracking my subscriptions. I am tracking what I've paid into my loans, and I'm just going to zero these out. And actually, the nice thing is too, they just came out with the feature for simple tables. So I might actually even see if I can convert this to a simple table one day, but for now, we're just going to leave it. Delete. And there we go. All good to go. So that, and I'm not going to change this because this is just cute. It's from Kiki's Delivery Service if you're wondering. So that is 2022 all set up. Thank you so very much for setting this up with me. Again, the links to the Studio Ghibli resources I was using will be in the description box below. All right, everyone, thank you very much for setting up my 2022 planner system with me in Notion. Hopefully you found this interesting. And again, if there are any other sections that you noticed that you would like me to go into more depth on, feel free to let me know and I will be happy to make that video for you. Otherwise, that is all I have for today's video. So thank you so very much for watching. I hope you had a happy and healthy holiday season, and I hope you're ready to kick some butt in 2022. Tentatively optimistic. Let's go. Okay, thanks very much, guys. Bye.